Good day, freshman students. Welcome to this week's discussion for Lesson 4 in Gen 003, Science, Technology, and Society. Okay, so for this week, I'll be discussing one topic only because we have scheduled a quiz for this week. Okay, so we are going to be discussing one topic only for this week's Gen 003, Science, Technology, and Society. Okay, all right, so for module 4 or lesson 4, okay, it's entitled The Impact of Freudian and Mesoamerican Revolution to Society. Of course, okay, Sigmund Freud, okay, is really a popular figure when it comes to scientific in the scientific world because he paved the way for analysis in our minds and behavior. Okay, so and also the Mesoamerican Revolution society, Mesoamerican Revolution has a lot of contributions when it comes to how a society works. Okay, so our lesson objectives focuses on you being able to explain how the ideas postulated by Sigmund Freud contributed to the spark of scientific revolution. Okay, so and also you should be able to illustrate ways by which the Freudian and Mesoamerican Revolution transform the society. Okay, so let's talk about Sigmund Freud first. Okay, so um, Sigmund Freud made a lot of contributions when it comes to the development of and the study of humans' inner life. Okay? Si Sigmund Freud kasi, he was able to uh, think of theories kung paano daw nabubuhay ang isang tao based sa kanyang behavior. Okay, so this is the contribution of Sigmund Freud. According to Sigmund Freud, he also released a theory called psychoanalysis, okay, which is a scientific way to study the human mind and neurotic illnesses. Okay, so since it's really hard noona to describe the workings of the mind, okay, Sigmund Freud actually paved the way to studying what goes on in our minds and in our personality. Okay, so there were a lot of controversies when it comes to his psychoanalysis because a lot of scientists considered that his method was very unorthodox. Ibig sabihin, it goes against the morality and principles of the religion or church, for example, because what Sigmund Freud focused on was on the sexuality of humans, and he also focused on man's evil nature. Okay, so that's why it was really hard for other scientists to accept what Sigmund Freud had postulated because they cannot accept it for themselves that they have an evil nature, that everything that a person does is a satisfaction of such sexuality. Okay? Parang ang hirap nilang i-accept para sa kanila yung mga ganung bagay. Okay? Parang nagbe-base lang sila ng kanilang behavior and interaction with other people because of their sexuality, that it's hard for them to accept that we are acting like this, we have a behavior like this because it's in connection with how we treat our evil nature. Okay, so a lot of scientists and a lot of people, okay, particularly those in the religion or in the church who really were against what Sigmund Freud had postulated. Okay, so another thing, okay, under psychoanalysis, he also postulated the psychosexual development. So ano sinasabi dito? That life was built around tension and pleasure, that the fulfillment and satisfaction of these tensions, of these pleasure, results to being a healthy person. Okay, so all tension was due to the buildup of libido, which is the sexual energy, and that all pleasure came from its discharge. Okay, all pleasure came from its satisfaction. If you satisfy though your libido, if you satisfy your sexual energy, then you become a healthy individual. Okay, so of development as we grow center on erogenous zones. Ano yung mga erogenous zones? And these are parts of our body that have heightened sensitivity. Okay? Mataas ang sensitivity nila. Masyadong sensitive. Alright? And in the fulfillment and in the satisfaction and in the discharge of these pleasure areas, okay, that way we will become, healthy individuals. Okay? Successful completion of these stages led to the development of a healthy personality. Okay, so if you have a balance with your libido, okay, you become a healthy person now. But fixation at any stage prevents completion, and therefore the development of an unhealthy fixated personality as an adult. Okay, so you can see these pictures here. Okay, let's say for example, this is actually a self-portrait of Sigmund Freud. Okay, so this is how he actually viewed himself. Okay, what can you see there, guys? Ano nakikita niyo dun sa picture? Sabi niya, according to the picture, it looks like a man na naka-side view, but upon closer look, there's a naked woman there on his face. Okay, so this depicts that the human person, okay, is basing on his sexual energy, and the satisfaction of such sexual energy will lead to become a healthy person. Okay, so that's what Sigmund Freud thinks about, and that's what Sigmund Freud postulates. Okay, and that's really a very there's a lot of controversy around this psychosexual development. So what constitutes, or what are the stages of psychosexual development? So Freud proposed that personality development in childhood takes place during 5 psychosexual stages, which is your oral, anal, phallic, latency, and genital stages. Okay, so here are the descriptions of each of the stages. Okay, so you can see the picture here, examples of psychological fixations. Okay, uh, from birth to 18 months, that's described, or that's characterized by the oral stage, because anything that you put inside your mouth, such as pleasure, the oral pleasures, such as sucking, okay, it gives satisfaction. Okay? Kaya ang mga babies laging, pag may nahawakan, sinusubok ka agad yan. Okay? Because everything that they put into their mouths is a form of satisfaction for them. It's a form of pleasure for them. Okay? And then if you don't fulfill those pleasures, okay, those desires at that age, okay, this could lead to an oral personality in adulthood centered around smoking, drinking alcohol, biting nails. Okay, some of us, even adults, may mga nagbabite ng nails, maybe because when they were kids, okay, their oral satisfaction was not met. Okay, let's say for example, there was a part wherein hindi siya masyadong pinapadede ng mommy. Okay, iyak ng iyak, tapos hindi masyadong nakakakain. All right, so that's that kind of fixation, okay, actually led to that person biting his nails. Kasi pagka nagbabite siya ng nails, na-fulfill yung satisfaction na meron siyang sinusubo sa bunganga niya. Okay? Because during that stage, okay, birth to 18 months, a baby has hand-to-mouth coordination. Kung ano yung mailagay niya sa kamay niya, isusubo niya yan. Okay? Because everything that he puts inside his mouth, his or her mouth, will be a source of pleasure. Kaya lahat ng makuha niya, lahat ng mga madampot niya, isusubo niya lahat yan. Okay? So, if a baby was not satisfied with his oral stage, then there can be difficulties when he becomes an adult. Okay? When he or she becomes an adult. Okay? So that's oral stage. Alright? So if you were not able to satisfy the oral stage when you were young, okay, so you might be biting your nails, you might be, doing smoking, something na may sinusubo at something na may nilalagay sa bunganga. Okay? And they can be pessimistic, gullible, and overly dependent on others. Okay? That's really, yeah, a negative thing to happen. Okay? Anal stage is from 18 months to 3 years. The focus of pleasure here is on eliminating and retaining feces and learning to control this due to societal norms. Kaya nga, ang potty training ng mga bata, okay, would be around um, 18 months, 1 year and 6 months to 3 years. Okay, that's why ini-start na natin silang i-potty train. Okay, pag mga 3 years old yan, pwede na silang i-potty train. Alright? And fixation here can lead to perfectionism, a need to control, or alternatively, the opposite, messy and disorganized. If you have, pag nasobrahan ang pag-control ng iyong ng elimination and retaining of feces, then you become perfectionist. There's always a need to control everything. Okay, but if you do not satisfy pagka kulang sa satisfaction ng anal stage, you can be messy and disorganized when you become an adult. Okay, it manifests. Okay, all right. Another stage after the anal stage would be the phallic stage. This is from 3 to 6 years, and this stage centers on the child's pleasure moved to the genitals. Okay, so dito papasok si Oedipus complex at saka si Electra complex. So Oedipus complex wherein the boys develop an unconscious sexual desire for their mothers and fear that because of this their fathers will punish them by castration. Okay, this is parang the kids, boys, will have an affinity and affection towards their moms. And then the Electra complex, which is for the girls naman, okay? The Electra complex is actually not part of Freud's psychosexual development. Okay? Ang sinabi lang ni Freud was the Oedipus complex, okay? So the boys. But for the Electra complex, this was postulated by Carl Jung, okay? And the Electra complex is a girl's psychosexual competition with her mother for possession of her father. Parang it's the opposite part of the Oedipus complex. Kaya nga during these times, okay, we have to be very, very understanding when it comes to our kids, okay? Fixation at the stage could lead to confusion over sexual identity or engaging in sexual deviances, okay? Kapag hindi na-satisfy ang phallic stage, they could be confused as to ano ba ang kanilang sexual identity. Maybe pagka hindi natin na-satisfy yung phallic stage na yan, kids will have a hard time identifying themselves kung ano ang kanilang sexual orientation. Okay? And if you overly fixated with this, yes, it may that person might engage in sexual deviances. Okay? Lalo pag hindi na satisfy yung phallic stage na yan, that person might engage in deviances when it comes to sexual activities. Okay? So, in the phallic stage, it's 3 to 6 years. Okay, phallic fixations. Here are examples of psychological fixations. If you are orally fixated, pwede kang mag-smoke. Chewing gums. Okay, yung mga mahilig sa chewing gums, maybe hindi masyadong na-satisfy ang iyong oral stage. That's why you are madalas ka mag-chew ng gum because you wanted something to be put into your mouth. Okay? Nail biting as well, okay? Pag itong si chewing gum, again, and nail biting, this is due to less, or what do you call this? This is because hindi masyadong na-satisfy si oral stage. Okay? Anal fixations, orderliness. Okay? Pag sinabing orderliness, ibig sabihin masyadong na-satisfy yung anal stage niya to the point na masyado siya nagiging malinis, orderliness, obsessive, okay, and medyo rigid. Okay? Pagka naman hindi masyado na-satisfy ang anal stage, pwede kang maging messy, disorganized, and dependent to others. Okay? Phallic fixations, vanity, okay, exhibitionism, pride, okay, those are examples of phallic stage fixations. Okay? Sabi nga natin, you overly, pagka hindi masyado na-satisfy ang phallic stage, you might be confused as to your sexual identity and you might engage in sexual deviances, specifically your exhibitionism or being vain or having too much pride. Okay? Latency stage after the phallic stage is from 6 years to puberty. Okay? Overt sexual interest is sublimated, ibig sabihin, bawas ang sexual interest ng mga bata. And the child's attention is focused on skills and peer activities with members of his or her own sex. Please take note of this. Pag si latency stage, okay, this is the time wherein repressed ang kanyang sexual urges, but the child is building up his focuses his or her attention to doing activities with the same sex. Okay? Kaya nga dito yung may mga grupo kayo ng mga friends na puro kayo babae or group of friends na puro lalaki. Okay? And children develop social skills, values, and relationships with peers and adults outside of the family. Okay? So, kung mapapansin mo kasi latency stage, this is the time really when kids start to go to school and wala nang masyadong supervision ng parents. Okay, that's the latency stage. And the last stage, which is the genital stage, which is puberty onwards. Okay, the onset of puberty causes the libido to become active once again. So again, balik tayo. Yung sa phallic stage, yung sexual desires is for the opposite parent. Okay? The child's sexual desire is focused on the opposite parent, okay? The sex of the opposite parent, okay? But for latency stage, mas nagfo-focus ang mga bata sa kanilang relationships with their peers of the same sex. Okay? But for genital stage, lalo na kung nasa puberty stage na ang mga bata, dyan magiging active ulit yung kanilang libido. Okay? Individual develops a strong sexual interest now in the opposite sex. So here in the picture, this is the latency stage. And this part here, yung mga pair na sila, okay? That's the genital stage, okay? And teens in the genital stage of development are able to balance their most basic urges against the need to conform to the demands of reality and social norms. So, ibig sabihin, kapag ka ang mga bata nasa genital stage na, they know now how to act accordingly. Okay? Hindi yung basta satisfy na lang ng sexual urges, hindi na ganon. Okay? Unlike the earlier years, okay? Hindi na sila masyadong ganon. Alright? Pagka nasa genital stage na sila, yes, they have a strong affinity when it comes to the opposite sex. Pero they already know how to conform. They already know how to think about what they're gonna do, and they already know how to react to the demands of reality and social norms. So yes, there's still the libido, lalo na during the onset of puberty, but in the genital stage, marunong na mag-isip ang mga bata. They know what's right and what's wrong. They know how to conform to demands of reality and social norms. Now, if the other stages have been completed successfully, the individual should now be well-balanced, warm, and caring. So, yung mga didiscuss natin dito when it comes to the psychosexual stages of psychosexual development, it all contributes to how a person is going to behave pag naging adult na siya. Okay? The way you act now as an adult was a product of how you were raised when you were a kid. Okay, basically, your behavior right now is a product of how you were able to satisfy your sexual interest, your sources of pleasure at each stage of development in your life. Okay, so this postulates of of Sigmund Freud really raised a lot of controversies and concerns. Kasi parang, sabi ko nga, si Sigmund Freud kasi he's not a traditional thinker. Okay? Sigmund Freud is a type of person to think outside the box. Okay? So he's not just focused on what he can see. He's also interested on what aspects that influences a person's thinking and behavior. Okay, so that's stages of psychosexual development. Okay, so that's it for Sigmund Freud. Okay, so kayo guys, syempre nandito na kayo sa genital stage. Okay, may mga iba na sa inyo may mga boyfriends na. Okay, yung iba siguro sa inyo may mga asawa na din and may mga anak na. Okay, but yes, okay, once you have learned about these things, okay, it will help you later on if you have a family of your own. You will be able to help your kids overcome and satisfy these sources of pleasure at each stage of development. Okay, let us, as future parents to kids, okay, let's not be judgmental when it comes to this, okay, because it's normal. It might seem unorthodox, pero kasi the satisfaction of these will pave the way for a person to become well balanced and healthy individual, both physically, emotionally, and mentally, and psychologically. Okay, all right, so that's for Sigmund Freud. Okay, and let's move on to Mesoamerican Revolution. Okay, so when you say Mesoamerican, this includes the entire area of Central America from southern Mexico up to the border of South America, which is particularly the Costa Rica part. Okay, so that's Mesoamerica. That's the part that covers Mesoamerica. Okay, and Mesoamerican Revolution is also called the Neolithic Revolution. Okay, so in this Neolithic Revolution, the Mayan civilization is one of the famous civilizations that lasted for approximately 2,000 years. And if you are familiar, the Mayan civilizations was the one who was able to detect that our world has an expiration date because of their contributions to how we deal with astronomy and such. Okay. The Mayans developed technology for growing different crops and building elaborate cities using ordinary machineries and tools. Itong si Neolithic Revolution kasi, the Mesoamerican Revolution kasi, was the start of forming societies, different kinds of societies. Okay? And these societies actually are made based on what they are, based on what is available in their area. Okay. During the Mesoamerican Revolution, they were able to build hydraulic system with sophisticated waterways to support water to different communities. Okay, that's the general idea. Okay, but for specifically, okay, we have different civilizations that comprises the Mesoamerican Revolution. So we have the Olmec, the Mayan, the Toltec, and the Aztec. Okay, so let's first discuss the Olmec civilizations. Okay, the Olmec civilization is the first major civilization in Mexico. Okay, so the name Olmec is a Nahuatl, the Aztec language word. It means the rubber people. Okay, so the Olmec civilization was able to devise a hydraulic system. Okay, when you say hydraulic system, this is a machine that is operated by the force offered or the pressure given out when a liquid is forced through a small opening or tube. Di ba pagka what do you call this? If you put in water, pagka may funnel ka, di ba? You pour water, okay? And then yung water susuot sa isang, maliit na passage, okay? And then the force of that passage, okay, masyado mataas. Kasi kapag masyado ka maraming tubig nilalagay doon at maliit lang na passageway ang dadaanan niya, okay, it will have a lot of pressure. And they were able to build canals that serve as giant waterways for trade. Paano naman kasi? Because when you look at the map here, the Olmec civilization, the Olmec territory is being surrounded on both sides by the Pacific Ocean and the Gulf of Mexico. So dito talaga during the Olmec civilization, during the onset of Olmec civilization, they were able to create waterways and canals, okay, from the ocean, from the Gulf, and then they have devised a hydraulic system na i-channel yung mga water sa ocean at saka sa Gulf of Mexico papunta sa kanilang land. Okay? They are the first Mesoamerican people to fathom the concept of zero, develop a calendar, and create a hieroglyphic writing system. This is their writing system. O, diba? It looks, yeah, it's somehow kind of like hieroglyphs, okay, but you might be able to understand, okay, based on this, okay, parang yung mga ibang pictures, ito maiintindihan mo din eh, okay, may insect, there's parang this is a corn or something, okay, you will be able to see kung paano and how they devised their writing system. And this picture here, okay, that's how they did the hydraulic system. So from the ocean, okay, they built a hydraulic system that will be, okay, that will be directed into their lands for their crops. Okay, that's for the Olmec civilization. Okay. Next here is the Mayan civilization. This is developed the Mayan civilization was the first to actually be interested in astronomy. Kaya nga, ito yung kanilang calendar. Okay, this is their calendar. This is how they were able to predict that the world has an expiration date. Okay, and they were also able to formulate the position value number system with zero. Okay, sila talaga yung they were the ones who actually were able to prove na yung placement ng zero has a value, okay, in mathematics, okay? And Mayans also were able to write. That's why they used tree barks and deer skin. And the Mayan civilization was the first to vulcanize rubber and play football and basketball, sort of. Okay, so itong picture na ito, this is their number system. Okay, there are some symbols na may, okay, that there are specific counterparts for those specific icons, okay, or designs, okay? May mga ibig sabihin niya, mga patterns na yan, okay? So they were able to devise a way in which they will be able to count, okay? And yes, sila yung may unang produce ng rubber ball. That's why here in this picture, you will be able to see how they played basketball, football, sort of, okay? So they were able to first play that kind of game, okay? Yes, it kind of looks like a football and a basketball at the same time. Paano siya naging basketball, guys? Kasi kailangan nilang i-shoot doon. O, ayan, magkaibang side, okay? Different teams. Alright? And they have to shoot it there. Okay? They have to shoot the ball there. Mukha siya football because they have to use their feet, not their hands. So it looks like a football and a basketball at the same time. Okay, he was able to shoot that. All right, so that's an example of their games before during the Mayan civilization. Okay, so because they were able to vulcanize rubber, that they were able to play football / basketball, sort of. Okay, All right, so that's for the Mayan civilization. Okay. Now, for the Toltec civilization, they were able to flourish in ancient central Mexico between the 10th and mid 12th centuries. Okay, it's marked by the rise of militarism in Mesoamerica. That's because kaya talagang naging prominent ang military because of the because of the production of metalworks. Okay, they were noted as builders and craftsmen and have been credited with the creation of fine metalwork. This is a metal, guys. Ano to? What do you think is this? Okay, this is actually a lamp. Okay, this is actually a lamp made of metal. That's why, since they were able to create metalworks, that's why they were able to create metal weapons, and that's why the rise of militarism was or happened during the Toltec emergence. Okay, they were also noted for building monumental porticos, serpent columns, gigantic statues, carved human and animal standard bearers, and peculiar reclining chacmol figures. This is a chacmol figure. Okay, this is a chacmol figure, and this is a monumental porticos. Okay, actually malalaki to, guys. It's really matataas itong mga monumental porticos na ito, and this is a chacmol figure. Okay, and this happened during the Toltec civilization. Okay. Next would be the Aztec civilization. Okay, the origin of the Aztec people has them migrating from a homeland called Aztlan to what would become modern day Mexico. So this really centered around Central America. And Aztec civilization is famous for their agriculture, cultivating all available land, introducing irrigation, draining swamps, and creating artificial islands in the lakes, chinampas. This is a chinampa, guys. Okay, this is actually a lake. And then what the Aztec people did was to create um, islands. Okay? Artificial islands. So these are, itong mga to na kung saan nandoon yung mga plants nila, yung mga crops, mga vegetables nila. These are artificial islands. This is actually a whole lake, and then they tried to create artificial islands para doon sila magtatanim. Okay? So because they were very known for cultivating all available lands. Okay, and Aztecs practiced both bloodletting or offering one's own blood and human sacrifice as part of their religious practices. Bloodletting is also being done here in the Philippines during the time sanduguan, di ba? This is, you put blood in a goblet. All of you will put blood, a pint of your blood in a goblet, and all of you will drink from that goblet. Okay, so that's bloodletting and offering a human sacrifice as part of their religious practices. Okay, so let's say, for example, if you're gonna pray for a good harvest, then you will, sacrifice a human for that. Okay, and that's during the Aztec civilization. Okay, so the things that happened during the occurrence of these different civilizations paved the way to have developments when it comes to science and technology and the society. Okay? Kasi parang the things that happened during these times actually paved the way para magkaroon tayo ng idea how we are going to build our societies, how we are going to live with different kinds of people in a society, how we will interact, and how we will be able to utilize the resources that we have on our areas, on our land. Okay, so these four civilizations actually were being regarded as the very important civilizations that paved the way actually for to have greater advancements when it comes to science and technology and the formation of the society. Kasi nga, if there is an advancement in science and technology, then you will be able to form societies. Most societies are being built because of the interaction of science and technology. Okay, and that's what these civilizations was able to do. Kaya nga, how these civilizations live, okay, is being passed down for generations to generations. Okay, all right. Yeah. So the only person with whom you have to compare yourself is you in the past. This is according to Sigmund Freud. Okay, and Sigmund Freud is a very much a believer of, you know, being able to being able to satisfy our pleasure zones, and for you to become for you to be better, you have to, you have to become a better version of yourself, become a better version of yourself in the past. Okay, and this is from a Mayan, a Hanbatsman Mayan civilization. Their thinking before is that if I destroy you, I destroy myself. If I honor you, I honor myself. This is their way of thinking. Okay, that's why they were able to create societies, because they have this mindset. Okay, they were able to have a harmonious relationship with each other, therefore forming different societies because they have this mindset. Okay, if I want to, if we want to have a good working relationship with each other, let's honor you. Okay, because let's honor each other, because if we honor each other, we are honoring ourselves. If we destroy each other, that we are destroying ourselves. That's what their thinking is. Okay, so if you have any questions, mga anak, please feel free to send me a message on our group chat or through private message. Okay, so for clarifications and questions, don't hesitate to send me a message. And this is my email, and this is my Facebook page, a Facebook link. Okay, you may search this link and add me on Facebook. Okay, so thank you very much for listening and watching my discussion video. I hope you had a great time, and thank you and have a great day ahead. Goodbye, guys.